Hello YouTube. Today for you I'm going to show you the four basic approaches or defenses against the knight's approach on R14. Um there like I just said, there are four basic types of responses. The the first one I'm going to talk about is the 1 point extension away from this. You can play at 016. A lot of people like to play 017, and it doesn't really matter for now. But if you had white stones, say around here or so, you definitely would want to play 017, because if you played 016, white could come in here, do a little damage. So, but if you have no white stones, I think 016 is perfectly fine to play. Usually, the Joseki goes like this. White threatens to invade the corner, black defends, white extends, black extends. It's a very simple Joseki, very easy to learn. Yeah, they both split the corner. They each get part of a side. Black does get more, but white gets sente, so he could get more if he wanted, but it's not very big right now. There's very little that can go wrong with this. White doesn't have to do this, he could just extend right away. Then if black wanted to keep his corner, he could do something like that. Or just like this if he wanted to. Or white, I don't see this very often, but I've seen this done, an immediate threat. Then it goes something like this, and black is slightly contained, but it's nothing major for black, because it's still quite a big corner. There's not much to explain about this, because even if you play 017, it's still basically the same thing. It's a very simple approach, so there's nothing much that will go wrong here. The second one is the kick, and I see this the most often in 30Ks up to 12Ks who still do this foolishly without realizing what they're doing. The kick usually is not good, and the reason being, first you strengthen white by giving him an iron pillar, and you're kind of forced to play here. If you don't play here and you directly try to attack how you try to attack, white gets to come down here and threaten this corner, and he could 3-3 invade you, and then when this comes down, bad things are gonna happen. But so I definitely would not suggest you attack right away. So you're forced to extend, and black could either play here and gain a lot of territory. Plus, this is not even safe yet. This is still a weak point. So, the kick, as of itself, just kicking is not good. But let's say you had a couple of backup stones here. Well, if you have a stone in one of these four places, then kicking is definitely the best way to go, because let's say you had a stone right here, and then you kicked. White cannot make local life. See, this is doing nothing. White cannot play this, because then you get this, you get this Atari here, and that destroys everything. So white will not try to make life, but will run. And of course you get to run with him, etc., etc., until he wants to stop you, or he starts to threaten something, whatever. But this is the only time you want to use the kick is in this situation where you have a stone's either here, you have a stone here, 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 or here, or there are two different situations. Let's say white is extremely strong on this side. Here, you have no hope to do anything, because what's happening here is white is extremely strong on this side. If you try to do a 1-point extension away or overhead attachment or whatever, it won't be as good as if you just kick, because what this does is solidify the corner. Then you get to take the side and the corner. Those are really the only time, those are really the only times you want to kick. Either A, you have a stone in these 4 areas, or B, white is so strong on this side that if you kick, it doesn't matter. And when you kick, you actually gain more of the corner. I think the only other time you would want to kick is if, say, white were semi-strong on this side and decided to attack here. You on the other hand have gobs of territory. The best thing for you to do is also to kick, because you also gain this corner, and it's a pretty big corner. Then you can go ahead and play something like this, or whatever big moves there are on the board. I think that goes over the kick pretty well. The third move that we have is the overhead attachment. This is to create kind of a wall, and so say you had stones. Say you're playing a low Chinese, and he attacked from here. You want to build a wall to try to get as much territory in here as you can. So I would suggest the overhead attachment. 016 could work for this, but overhead attachment is fine. White has 3 possibilities he can do. He can Hane here. He can push down, threatening to split the groups, or he can directly 3-3 invade. I think the most common is the Hane. Black will extend. White can either choose to push down or 3-3 invade again. I usually see the 3-3 invade, because if he pushes down, black has to keep his corner. So this happens. I think black, as black, I would ignore R15, because I think N16 or M16 is much bigger to keep all the territory that you try to make. If he directly 3-3 invaded, again you would block like this, and white has to defend this. Then you get to play M16 or N16. If white decides to try to split, you just connect the groups and you make a wall, and again you get to play this. The purpose of this is just to make a wall to so white cannot get into some of this territory here. That's really all it's for. It's again not very complex, but pretty helpful in making a wall. And now we come to our 4th and probably most popular, the pincer. And with this pincer, there are 4 different types of pincers. You got this pincer, this pincer, this pincer, and this pincer. I'm sorry. Well, this pincer, I believe. I believe 5 is also viable. I don't see it very often, but I think 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the most common. Let's start with 1. 1 is the most popular by far, and is the most aggressive pincer, and white kind of has to respond. If he doesn't respond, Q14 is going to hurt. So usually white runs, black will run with him, and white can choose to run again, or he can choose to come over and attack the R12 stone. Usually people run 2 times, then come to attack the R12 stone because it gives them more room to run. Black, I like to do this to threaten to split into groups. I don't know what most people like to do. I believe most people choose to extend. But this is not really good for black, because however long black decides to extend, white gains that much influence. And this influence is huge because white has continued to run. So this is why I like to try to split this before extending. That way I can kind of push in if I need to. Or I'll just play something like this, which kind of guarantees my life. Or white could just directly 3/3 invade. And depending on if you have, of course, if you had stones in this area, you would want to push this way because you get to save the most from this. Then you extend again. White plays this, and black plays this. This is also considered a Joseki. Black balances influence with white's territory. This is also, again, a Joseki. The reason white plays this instead of just ignoring this or coming over here is because if he doesn't, black threatens to capture this stone, the R14. So, of course, white Ataris. Black Ataris again, white captures, and black takes the corner back. So, that's why this cut has to be protected with this stone, because if black tries to come in, white blocks the cut. If black foolishly cuts again, white takes the stone. So there's no problem after this. This creates black's wall, which gives him the influence. Yeah, that's it about the 1 space low pincer. Then there's the 1 space high pincer. Usually this isn't played without the backup of this stone, because if this stone were not here, white would get to run and run and run and run and run, and this stone is kind of floating around, sort of weak and easily undercut, but this stone gives more security to the shape. So, again, let's assume that black has a stone here. So, white will run. The usual Joseki for this is white threatens the corner, black defends, white plays a large knight's move to basically create life, plus this stone is weak. The problem about this, for me, is if black plays here. Now white is extremely confined to this general area. But if luckily black decides to ignore and play something like this, this is damaging to white. And not only does this damaging to black, not only does white get into the open, but now he gets to fight with this, and he also gets to create good shape, which is what we all know, what we all want. This could hurt. I take that back. This would not hurt it very much. Of course, black has the empty triangle, notoriously bad shape. So this is how the Joseki goes for the 1 space high pincer. Now we have this pincer, which is very similar, but it's much looser. So it's not really pushing so much on white, so white can't really push back. Because if you remember back, when we played this pincer, when white got to run, he got to come back and attack this stone. But with wider pincers, you don't get that problem. The trade-off is that you don't attack white as severely. So it's very similar to the other Joseki. Very, very similar. I believe it's exactly the same with the exception that Q11 is on Q11 instead of Q12. Yeah, there's not much to say. It's very similar to the other situation with the 1-space high pincer, except this is called the 2-space high pincer. Then we have the 3-space high pincer, and this is threatening the kick at R15. I believe most people just drop down to make life, then will run, or play something like this before running. At least that's what I would do. I don't know the exact Joseki here, but I think this is this is not a bad situation for white. I'll just put it that way. It's not bad for black either, because black has gained half a corner, some side here, plus he has a little wall here which he can use to extend here, or if there's a white stone right here, attack with this. So I think this is relatively balanced. I don't think this is quote-unquote Joseki, but I think it's pretty even. And finally we have the 3-space low pincer. And this is a loose pincer. Again, it's not very tight, and it's not very attacking, but it's not letting white make local life, which means he has to run, or he could do something silly like this, or he could just directly 3-3 invade. In any pincer, white can just directly invade at the 3-3 point. This is possible. I've seen it been done before, but I guess in most cases white would run, black runs, white runs, black runs, etc., etc. This stone is really kind of untouchable. It's not really attackable, so I guess white would probably try to just make good shape. Black could extend to attack the Q4 stone if there was a white stone here. Yeah, there's a lot of things black can do with this pincer. I think I talked a bunch about the pincers because the pincers are the most complex of the 4. But I would say if you're a beginner, stick to this pincer, because other pincers or variations will get very complicated. But this is very simple. Run, 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 attack, extend. You know, not very difficult. And if he by chance does decide to 3-3 invade, I would say it actually doesn't matter, because if you block this way and white does this incorrectly, you know, he dies. Well, he doesn't die, but he makes very small life. I take that back. He dies. Oh man, I'm off today. I'm sorry. Anyways, he is confined to small life if he responds wrong. If he responds correctly, this is not as much as he would gain from a normal 3-3 invasion. Plus, you can attack like this. Cut. Remember, cutting is your friend. And yep, turn this into a big fight. I believe this ends our video today. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please leave me a comment. Please subscribe, and again, contact me if you want to make your own videos, etc., etc. All the other things I said in my past videos. Thank you very much for watching.